Hey folks, this is the Truth Experience right here on American Liberty Radio Network. I am live right now. Yes, this is not a recorded podcast. This is live. The music you're hearing is Fire Breather from the Silent Partner. So go check them out on YouTube. Yes, Silent Partner with Fire Breather. Give them all the credit. There you go. Folks, this is the 1st of May, 2017. How you doing? Hey, I want you guys to go check out one hell of a funny frickin' show. Go to DirtyGarageStudios.com. DirtyGarageStudios.com. Or go, because you will find a podcast there. I will put this up on the Truth Experience Facebook page because of the fact that it is a funny show. What can I say, folks? It's called Drunk Heckle Tweet. I'm just saying, folks. I'm just putting it out there, folks. Drunk Heckle Tweet. Okay. So that's the show on Dirty Garage. What is this? DirtyGarageStudios.com. Yeah, I'll put this on the Truth Experience Facebook page. Go check that out if you'd like. Funny stuff. It's alcohol. It's a movie. It's them getting drunk and, well, criticizing the movie. So there you go. If you're into that kind of thing. DirtyGarageStudios.com. Drunk Heckle Tweet with my main man. Actually, no. With a friend of mine named Jay of Many Hats. Mr. Jay Vokey. So go check him out over there. Him and his compadres talk about film while they're drunk. And they watch it on TV and they give you all of their inebriated opinions. So there you go. Drunk Uncle Tweet over at DirtyGarageStudios.com. So, yes. So, Harry, I don't know how long I'm going to go tonight. So, I have no clue. All right? None. Zip. Zero. Zilch. None. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to go another 5 minutes or another 2 hours. I have no idea. Yeah, I do. I'm just giving you just a little bit of, I'm being funny with you guys. All right. California construction companies defy legislators in bid to build wall. Democrat lawmakers introduce bill prohibiting future state contracts from going to wall builders. Okay, now, did President Trump go back on his word? Adon Salazar, Infowars.com. California construction companies bidding on the controversial border wall are undeterred by threats from state lawmakers to boycott their businesses. Despite Democrat legislators' efforts to impose laws barring companies that work on the wall from receiving future contracts with the state, several construction business owners say they will take on the contract if offered to them. Many companies approached by CBS Los Angeles refused to appear on camera because of the stigma attached to the wall. Okay. Yeah, another construction company owner interviewed by CBS Los Angeles, Rick Taylor, says he also is looking forward to meeting President Trump's demand for a big, beautiful, that's in quotes, big, beautiful wall. Taylor's design will incorporate visual aesthetics on both sides of the wall, which could possibly entice Mexico to pay for part of it. Yeah. Democrats like Senator Ricardo Laura of California's 33rd District say legislation is needed to deter construction companies from building the wall. Folks, I'm just going to put this out here right now, and I'm going to lay this out as factually as I can as I put this on the Truth Experience Facebook page. I'm going to lay this out as plainly as I can. If I don't burp first, I did. But let me just lay this out as truthfully as I can. The wall's going up. The wall is going up. Okay, that's all there is to it. The wall is going up. Okay. There's no, and that's number one. That's the first thing I see in California right now. The wall is going to go up. Okay, there's no, I have no doubt at all. The other thing I see in California, other than they're a communist state and they don't really care about anything that the people say that they don't like, and all that. So what I see is a civil war. I see a civil war coming. I see a civil war at the brink of starting immediately. I see it coming. It's there. It's the tension in California between the folks on the patriotic side and the folks on the Democratic Socialist side. I see this coming, folks. I see this coming. Let me talk about that for a minute. California has gone through a lot in the last since 1849, when their inclusion into the rest of the Union happened. They are literally right now, as I see it, they are literally going to fail. They're literally going to fail. Period. Okay? Period. That's just the way it is. I'm getting an echo for some reason. I don't know why. But anyway, they're going to fail. And what is going to happen is these people in California, the politicians, the people in Sacramento, they're going to completely come unglued. Okay? They're going to come unglued because no one is marching to their orders. The Patriots, mind you, the Democratic Socialists, the Bernie Sanders, the Maxine Waters, those folks, they're marching to the tune of Jerry Brown. Okay. With that said, you've got patriots there. You got people there that have already determined that they're going to defy orders, such as those construction companies who, if they get the contract to build a wall, they will. Because, hey, it's money in their pocket, right? Then you have the patriots who know all too well what's happening out of Sacramento. And then you have people such as, you have patriots. I'll just leave it at that. You have former military, current military, former law enforcement, current law enforcement. You have the citizens who know what is going on. You're going to have a massive, as is starting to look like at this point, with shootings in California, with shootings all over the place already. You're going to have one massive civil war in the state of California. And I encourage people who I know in California, friends and family, to pack your crap and get the hell out of California. Because I don't want you in the crossfire between the Democratic Socialist and the Republican Fascist and the Patriots. It's going to be a massive, as I like to say, fuster cluck of disagreements that's going to result in, well, I hate to say it, but it's going to result in a shooting war. It's going to go that far, yes. It's going to go that far because Sacramento, Jerry Brown, his people. You've got drug cartels that control probably 30 to 45% of the interstate drug organizations, drug trafficking organizations. How do I know that number? I was born and raised in Stockton, California, folks. I left in 2006. Hello. I worked closely with the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office. I worked closely with people in the know. I'll just leave it at that. I have certain areas of intelligence, and I'll just leave it at that. California is done. California is a communist state. California is a fallen state, as well as Illinois, as well as New York State. They're all three of those are completely gone. Nevada is a fascist state, and they're on the brink of collapsing. Okay? So, California is going to wind up in a civil war, and it's not going to look pretty. As goes California, so goes the rest of the country. We are going to have problems in the country if we don't put limits on government in California. But you see, over half of the 39 million people that live in California, and that's down considerably. Let me give you the actual numbers here. Population, whoops, I spelled population wrong. Population of California, 39 million people, 39.14 million people as of 2015. 39.14 million as of 2015. Texas is 27.47 million as of 2015. Okay? Now, let's compare that to where I'm at. Let's compare that to where I am. Now remember, California, 39.14 million people. Where I'm at in the state of Montana is 1.033 million people as of 2015. 1,033,000 people as of 2015. North Dakota, as of 2015, is 756,000 people. Alaska is 738,000 people as of 2015. I say that because I know the politics in California. I'll just leave it at that. I know the politics in California. Okay? I know the politics. Now, a question came to mind at one point, and that was, why don't people in California stand up for themselves? I'll tell you why. Two reasons. Drug cartels funded by, well, have you heard of Fast and Furious? They changed their name, but it's the same thing. And they still bring drugs into California. The drug cartels, that's number one. Number two, the reason why citizens in California don't stand up and do something about it is because they're cowards. Over 35% of the citizens of the state of California, I'm just going to throw that number out there. I could be off by a few percentage points. But about 35% of the people in California are a bunch of cowards. Okay. How many, as soon as my computer, how many people in California have conceal carry permits? You can hear me typing. I do this all the time, folks. If I don't have anything to say, I give you the stats. Okay? Now, as soon as my Wi-Fi decides it wants to work. Concealed Weapons of California, the numbers. Requests from more than 16,000 Californians to carry a concealed gun in public are in limbo, pending a final decision in a landmark lawsuit that's scheduled to be heard today in the federal courtroom in San Francisco. This is from Matt Drange, 16th of June 2015, from the website revealnews.org. Okay, since I already read part of that, I'm going to put that up on the Truth Experience Facebook page. Okay? I'm giving you all of it right there, folks. I'm giving you the website. You guys go make up your own mind on this stuff. You guys do your deeper research. I know you got Columbo-like research skills. I know you guys can figure this out. From the usacarry.com website, California Concealed Carry Permit information. Concealed permit may issue to residents only. Okay? Issuing authority is county sheriff or police chief of the area you reside. NICS or background check, yes. Cost, blah, blah, goes down through there. Shows you everything you need to know. Okay? So that's from usacarry.com. You might want to go there and check on your own state. Okay? Now, this is from crimeresearch.org. And it's a PDF. And as soon as it comes up, I will tell you exactly what it is. I will save it because obviously it's a PDF. So let's go here and save that. But I want to close it out because it's a PDF. And PolitiFact.com in Florida, which state has the most gun permits? Florida does have 1,384,756 million, yes, folks, million concealed weapon permit holders as of March of 2015. Now, let me go back here to where I need to be. And let me tell you something. Let me fill you in on something, folks. By the way, little show note here, folks, that if you hear any sound anomalies, such as like something skipping or whatever, let me know. Email me at AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. Let me dovetail all of that into this. California is done. It's a communist state. Nevada's a fascist state. It's about ready to fold into communism. Lots of other states are that way, including Illinois. They're about ready to go south into communism. And New York definitely is a major player in restricting freedoms of its citizens. All four of those states. Okay? I don't want to hear it anymore. I know what it is. I haven't lived in New York, so I don't know. But I have family in New York. And I have friends in New York. Okay? I used to live in Nevada. I've been to Illinois. I was stationed in Illinois. I grew up in California, so I don't want to hear it anymore. Okay? I know what I'm talking about. I don't want to go into all the details and give you the Ross Perot version of, what I know, because that's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. But let me say this. I know for a fact that people will do what they need to do to take care of themselves in a manner that fits their abilities. I know this. We all do it. We all have that. We all have the ability to take care of ourselves. We all have the ability to protect our families. Even if we don't think so, trust me, the intuition and the instincts will kick in and yeah, you'll be able to take care of yourself and your family. But you see, there are more people in the last 6 months here in Montana that the background checks for a handgun or for any weapon, just a background check, has gone up from 10% in the last 18 months, but specifically in the last 6 months, has gone from 11% in the last 4 months to 13% this month. So in 4 months, it went up 2 percentage points. There's 1.033 million people in the state of Montana. Can you tell me right now how many people have had background checks for weapons? Do the math. Okay? So, when you look at the United States of America as a whole, when you look at the politics coming out of Washington, D.C., when you look at what that results in, or what the results are of that bureaucracy and that politics playing in Washington, D.C., do you know what's going to happen to the rest of the United States if we don't suppress or control or limit the federal government, including the state's government, from doing what they do against the citizens of the United States of America? Do you have any clue? Can you imagine what they're planning on doing? Can you? Because I certainly can, and I'm going to tell you it doesn't look good. It didn't look good at all. My point is, folks, get yourself ready because we're in for a bumpy ride. I don't want to talk about Trump. I don't want to talk about that because, that's a whole ballgame, a whole different podcast in and of itself. And people talk about him and people make fun of him and all this, that, and the other thing. And you know what? He doesn't deserve that. I'm just going to lay it out for you. I don't care whether you like him or you don't like him, or you like him but you don't like his politics or whatever. He doesn't deserve the criticism he's getting, okay? I would have said that as a matter of fact, I think I did at one point say that for George W. I think I said that about Obama because, let me just clear something up for you, folks. They're human beings. They ran for a public office, got the votes they needed because their thought was they're going to serve the American people in a capacity that is going to help them because the American people deserve it. So, in that regard, President Trump doesn't need the criticism, doesn't deserve it. But also, let me flip that coin over and say this. The media bashes him for what he's doing. Some of the media doesn't bash him, but they spin the things that he says, and then he has to come out and engage in damage control. You tell me who the fake news is. He already, just yesterday, he just told the people on Face the Nation, he said, I call you guys deface the nation. And that's exactly what they do. So there's no question about his integrity and his ability to perform the duties of the president, office of the presidency. There's no doubt in my mind that he's, not able to do that. Or how can I rephrase that? He can do the job because he's got the ability to do the job. Okay, I have no doubt about that. No doubt whatsoever. Okay. No doubt whatsoever. But I also want to clear something up as well. And that is, excuse me, wow. And I'm typing at the same time. Let me clear something up before I finish this message to someone. I may not agree with everything that he says, and I may not agree with every policy that he has, but and I may like some of the stuff that he's done so far, but he's doing the job that I don't think anyone, right now, I don't think anyone can do the job. You're a plumber? How about going sit in the Oval Office? You're an insurance salesman at a big organization, and you're a rep for that company. Go sit in the Oval Office. You're a truck driver. Go sit in the Oval Office. You're a dentist. Go sit in the Oval Office. You can't do the job. You cannot do the job. Period. That's it. You can't, because you don't know the inner workings of the bureaucracy within Washington, D.C. And let me tell you something, folks. There's a lot of holes in Washington, D.C. There's a lot of people going from one side to the other trying to make deals. There's backdoor deals. There's certain people, certain organizations, and I'm going to stop right there. It's not easy being a member of the elite in Washington, D.C. Oh, they make a whole bunch of money. And how can a congressman who makes $174,000 a year leave within 6, 8, 10, 12 years and be a freaking millionaire if there wasn't some inside deal somewhere? You know what I'm saying? I'm sure this is true in Australia too, so. I'm sure this is true in any other country, except for the ones that are not so industrialized. We have a problem in the United States of America, and it begins with Washington, D.C. Okay? That's where it is. That's where it is. The problem is not so much what they do. Okay? It's not so much what they do. It's not that. It's not that at all. It's the result of what they do. Okay? And I chuckle because one person may shake the hand of a colleague or somebody of their own party, and that person will go off and rat them out, and then, well, the circle of corruption continues. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not, you cannot win in Washington, D.C. You cannot win in Washington, D.C. You cannot think, well, if I was on the inside, I'm going to change things, and this is how I'm going to do it, and all this, that, and the other thing. No. It's not going to work that way, folks, because once you get in there, you're pretty much the rat in the cage on the wheel. That's pretty much what it is. And you've come up with some great ideas. You want to present it to one of your reps and present it to Congress. Well, that's fine. You go do that. That's you play your little presidency game over there. Congress will take care of the rest, and you just stand over there and play with your toys. By the way, Trump didn't order those those military actions. Congress had to do it. So you tell me who has the real power in Washington, D.C. And even Congress doesn't have all the power. They don't have all the power. Folks, I don't know about you, but something not right. You know what I'm saying? Something is not right. I'll be right back right after this. This is American Liberty Radio Network. This is The Truth Experience. TheTruthExperience.weebly.com. You know what you want. You want the truth. You want the facts. Without all the BS. American Liberty Radio Network. AmericanLibertyRadio.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Distorted Reality. I am your host, Nick Tucker, and I welcome you to the broadcast
Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker. DistortedReality.podbean.com and Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on American Liberty Radio Network.
There's a show that's not afraid to ask questions no one else will ask. Not afraid to say
what no one else will say.
Friday nights at 7 p.m. Listen to Restricted Airspace with Tina Marie, where no topic is off limits. Conspiracy theories, paranormal activities, hoaxes, the unexplained. It's what we talk about. Question everything. Trust no one. Restricted Airspace with Tina Marie. Friday at 7 p.m. on the KCOR Digital Radio Network out of Las Vegas, Nevada.
Revealing the truth, one fact at a time, without all the BS. This is the American Liberty Radio Network.
Don't say you haven't been warned. Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker. DistortedReality.podbean.com and Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on American Liberty Radio Network. Sharing the truth one fact at a time without all the BS. American Liberty Radio Network. AmericanLibertyRadio.com. I am back, folks. This is The Truth Experience right here on the American Liberty Radio Network. TheTruthExperience.weebly.com. American Liberty Radio Network can be reached at AmericanLibertyRadio.com. If you have any questions, please ask. No question is off limits. And hey, if I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. It's that simple, folks. American Liberty Radio at USA.com. American Liberty Radio at USA.com. Excuse me. Let's go here, folks. Let's go over here. And I'm going to talk about a couple of things as soon as my nose decides wants to work. Anyway, I do have a question before I go on. This question is very, very simple. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this one out, I hope. You're out and about, you're out with friends, you get into a discussion, and how many of your friends do not like talking about politics? How many of your friends don't like talking about politics? I mean, when you really think about it, and when you really struggle to help them understand what's going on, yeah, you have to talk about politics. Okay? There's no question about it. No doubt the conversation will lead into a political discussion. There is no doubt. Okay? How many of your friends don't like talking about politics? The horrors of communist China. How many died as a result of persecutions and the policies of Mao? This is from Lou Rockwell at Mises.org, Mises.org, 1st of May 2017. It's a scandal that a few Westerners are even aware, or if they are aware, they are not conscious of the bloody reality that prevailed in China between the years 1949 and 1976, the years of the communist rule by Mao Zedong. How many died as a result of the persecutions of the policies of Mao? Perhaps you care to guess. Many people over the years have attempted to guess, but they have always underestimated. As more data rolled in during the 1980s and 90s, the specialists have devoted themselves to investigations and estimates. The figures have become ever more reliable, and yet they remain imprecise. What kind of error term are we talking about? Well, it could be as low as 40 million. It could be as high as 100 million or more. In the Great Leap Forward from 1959 to 1961 alone, figures range from 20 million to 75 million. In the period before, 20 million. In the period after, tens of millions more. As scholars in the area of mass death point out, most of us can't imagine 100 dead or 1,000. Above that, we are just talking about statistics. They have no conceptual meaning for us, and it becomes a numbers game that distracts us from the horror itself. And there is only so much ghastly information that our brains can absorb, only so much blood we can imagine, and yet there is more to why China's communist experiment remains a hidden fact. It makes a decisive case against the government power, one even more compelling than the cases of Russia or Germany in the 20th century. The horror was foreshadowed in a bloody civil war following the Second World War. After some 9 million people died, the communists emerged victorious in 1949 with Mao as the ruler. The land of Lao Tzu, rhyme, rhythm, peace, Taoism, compassion, moderation, humility, and Confucianism, plenty, social harmony, individual development, was seized by the strangest import to China ever. Marxism from Germany via Russia. It was an ideology that denied all logic, experience, economic law, property rights, and limits on the power of the state on grounds that these notions were merely bourgeois prejudices. And what we needed to transform society was a cadre with all power to transform all things. It's bizarre to think about it, really. Posters of Marx and Lenin in China, of all places, and ruled by an ideology of robbery, dictatorship, and death that did not come to an end until 1976. So spectacular has the transformation been in the last 25 years that one would hardly know that any of this ever happened, except that the Communist Party is still running the place while having tossed out the communist part. As a side note, folks, Henry Kissinger under President Richard M. Nixon, Henry Kissinger was Secretary of State, and in 1971 or 72 opened up trade with China. Henry Kissinger is part of the Bilderberg Group. Continuing, the experiment began in the most bloody way possible following the Second World War, when all Western eyes were focused on matters at home, and to the extent there was any foreign focus, it was on Russia. The quote-unquote good guys had won the war in China, or so we were led to believe in the times when communism was in fashion. The communization of China took place in the usual 3 stages: purge, plan, and scapegoat. Sound familiar, folks? First, there was the purge to bring about communism. There were guerrillas to kill and a land to nationalize. Churches had to be destroyed. The counter-revolutionaries had to be put down. The violence began in the country and spread later to the cities. All peasants were first divided into 4 classes that were considered politically acceptable: poor, semi-poor, average, and rich. That sound familiar, folks? Everyone else was considered a landowner and targeted for elimination. If no landowners could be found, the rich were often included in this group. The demonized class was ferreted out in the countrywide series of quote-unquote bitterness meetings, in which people turned in their neighbors for owning property and being politically disloyal. Those who were so deemed were immediately executed, along with those who sympathized with them. The rule was that there had to be at least 1 person killed per village. The numbers killed is estimated to be between 1 and 5 million. In addition, another 4 to 6 million landowners were slaughtered for the crime of being capital owners. If anyone was suspected of hiding wealth, he or she was tortured with hot irons to confess. The families of the killed were then tortured and the graves of their ancestors looted and pillaged. What happened to the land? It was divided into tiny plots and distributed among the remaining peasants. It goes on, folks, but I'm going to put this on American Liberty Radio on The Truth Experience for all of you to read the rest of that. We often mistake the classes of people, the lower class, the upper lower class, the lower middle class, the upper middle class, or the middle class, the upper middle class, the rich and the wealthy. Okay? We usually classify these types of people in those categories. We've discovered quite recently that those classes don't exist. What? Yeah. They don't exist, folks. Not in America. They're identifiers for separation of people into certain areas and certain groups of people and certain and even subdivided into different categories of race and religion and education, and it's a falsehood that we were indoctrinated to believe. You see, folks, I said on my last podcast, or a couple of nights ago, that we weren't taught to adapt, folks. We weren't taught to adapt. We were indoctrinated to assimilate. Okay? And that's where we're at right now. We've got the patriots like myself, like Alex Jones, like Michael Savage, like Brian Lang and Nick Tucker and the rest of us in the independent media. We're defending our innate, God-given rights against a system that has indoctrinated most of its followers to the singularity of totalitarianism. No words can adequately express how disgusted most people are in the United States with what is happening. But when you see riots and shootings and all of this around the United States of America, you're going to see two versions of it. The independent alternative media is telling you the truth, showing you the evidence. There it is. Here is what it is. The mainstream media is going to spin everything they see. Excuse me. They're going to spin everything they see. Give you a comparison. The mainstream media with James Holmes in the Aurora, Colorado shooting at the movie theater several years back, said it was one lone gunman that went in there and did it. Evidence has shown otherwise. There were men outside of the exit. Witnesses have said that he walked to the exit, looked out, came back in, spent a few seconds there, came back in. Somebody opened the exit door, came in that door. Two people came in that door while James Holmes was in the front. Evidence proves that. Eyewitness testimony is not all that valid in some cases, but the evidence proves that. And if he was such the patsy, why did a bomb squad have to go to his apartment to unwire his apartment? Yes, it was wired to explode if anybody went near it or went in it. Yes, that's on record, and it is fact. Okay? Why is it James Holmes was, as the mainstream media would say, on medication for depression, for ADD, name it, they'll tell you, what it is. But why was his father working for a particular contractor with the military? Same thing with Lanza. Same thing with a few others such as the Tsarnaev brothers in Boston. Why are we being told certain things by the mainstream media which are complete and utter lies? Because their agenda is clear. 1984. George Orwell, a.k.a. Eric Blair, was in some reports a triple agent, primarily working for the British government and MI5, was an agent, or as some would call it, a subcontractor, for the CIA, and was also working with the Russians. In some reports, I don't have that in front of me. I cannot verify any of that, but that is in some reports. He wrote 1984 and 1948. He was telling everyone in that book what was happening at that time. Somebody came to him, as it is alleged, and said, "You can't put this book out. Change the title." So he did, 1984. Took about 16 years more, or even a little more than that, to become exactly, the United States became exactly what was described in that book. I don't know why the mainstream media is still around. They need to be bankrupt and gone. They need to just be thrown away, because they lie every chance they get, especially The Hill, which is the leftist magazine in the Capitol. I could be wrong. I may have overlooked something. So someone verify that for me. And you have Snopes, which is a piece of crap website that used to talk about urban legends, but now is the truth seeker and disseminator of Facebook, along with Google. So you tell me what's fake, folks. You tell me, you describe to me what is fake. There's nothing fake about liberty and freedom, and there's nothing fake about the person's passion for wanting that. There is nothing fake about the patriots of the United States of America standing up and defending this country against enemies foreign and domestic. But what is ridiculous is that our military personnel take an oath. I did. We take an oath to defend the United States of America against enemies foreign and domestic. And where the hell is our military? In other countries fighting somebody else's civil war, when they should be here protecting our own borders. Well, guess who steps up to the plate to do that? That would be the citizens of the United States of America. And we will. We've done it before. We'll do it again. And this time, the results are going to be a lot different than the War of Independence from 1773 to 1776. It's going to be a lot different than the Civil War of 1861 to 1861 to 1865. And we will push completely into that 10 square mile piece of land called Washington, D.C., and we will repeal the Act of 1871. We do not need a centralized government. I said it in my podcast earlier today. We don't need that. We don't need it. I just think that in all aspects of what we are as a country, the citizens should back the principles of peace, freedom, liberty, and security for this nation. The citizens, not the drug cartels, not foreign agents, not foreign diplomats, not domestic terrorists we call street gangs. No. They don't dictate to us what we do. We demand that they do what we, the people and patriots of the United States of America, want them to do. Period. And if they don't like it, well, there's other countries that fit their political ideologies. Bye. Friend of mine just sent this. Brian Lang over at LiveTruthRadio.com. He said, this was on the 9 o'clock news the other night, and this works. And he's telling me all this. He's showing me all this stuff. And I'm assuming, and this, I've got this before, and it was worded differently, and this is one of those spam thingies. Hey, you can make this. It was on the news. It was this, and blah, 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 and da-da-da-da-da. Facebook is going to give you this. Bill Gates is going to give you this. Microsoft is going to give you this. No. It's bullcrap. It's bullcrap. Let me tell you something else that's bullcrap. The mainstream media, Bernie Sanders, Maxine Waters, yes, even Hillary Clinton, former President Barack Obama, full of bullcrap. Just like Bill Nye, the unscience guy. Hell, I'd rather listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson than Bill Nye. At least Neil deGrasse Tyson is an actual scientist. I may not agree with everything he says politically, but hey. There's a lot of crap going on around the United States of America, and we the people have to stand up and do it once again. We have to protect the nation of the United States of America. That's numero uno on our to-do list. Right here in Montana, we got We got 1,033,000 people as of 2015. I guarantee you, if half of them stood up and went to Helena, Montana, which is the capital, and we tell our politicians, hey, knock it off. You listen to us. We do it. You don't. We'll take care of this state. You back off. If you don't like it, we'll accept your resignation in the next 24 hours. Is that a coup? No. That's patriots of Montana holding our politicians accountable for their actions and responsible for the results of their actions. Because all we can do legally as citizens is go in to the governor's office and declare a citizen's arrest. And don't talk to the local authorities. Talk to the state marshal. You declare a citizen's arrest against the governor with the marshal standing right next to you. Guess what? He's going to get his ass hauled off to jail. You press charges? Yeah, I can come up with a whole bunch of them. I can come up with a whole bunch of them, folks. Hey, I know it's at the last minute, but I'm just going to tell you straight up. I didn't know whether or not I was going to go an hour or two or whatever it was. I didn't know, but I'm going to tell you right now. We're going to stop at the top of the hour. I got a lot to do. I do other things outside of this. I have New West Radio Theater, which is old-time radio-style productions and original productions as well, that I write, that I produce, that I direct, that I have actors come in and help, produce these things with me. And you can be a part of that too if you'd like. NewWestRadioTheater.weebly.com is where you go for that information. But right now I want to tell you that if you like this show, The Truth Experience, please let me know. You can go to American Liberty Radio Network and click on the email address right there and send me your information. Let me know how I'm doing. You can also go to thetruthexperience.weebly.com, thetruthexperience.weebly.com. Send me an email through there too if you'd like. American Liberty Radio Network does not exist without you or without me giving you the information as well. So if you appreciate that, go to AmericanLibertyRadio.com, go to the sponsors page. Right there on the page, you will see Become a Patron. Thank you, folks. Drop $1 into Kitty to help us keep the lights on around here. And we can continue to give you the truth and the facts without all the BS. There you go, folks. It's that simple. AmericanLibertyRadio.com. Go to the sponsors page, click on Become a Patron right there. Or, for this particular show, thetruthexperience.weebly.com. Go to the sponsors page, a little bit different. Same prices, everything. If you have any questions, of course, all you got to do is ask. American Liberty Radio at USA.com. American Liberty Radio at USA.com. Folks, it's always fun to come to you, live or recorded, right here on Spreaker.com. If you got an idea for a podcast, talk to Spreaker. Go to Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com. Folks, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go away. I'll be back tomorrow with American Liberty Radio podcast right here on American Liberty Radio Network. Sharing the truth one fact at a time without all the BS.